Break Effect has been getting a lot of improvements recently, and it changed massively when the Harmony Trailblazer dropped. This is because they introduced the Super Break mechanic into the game, and it allows the Break Effect stat to output more damage than just the initial damage from breaking a weakness bar, and then also because of the resulting dot damage that comes from it. This was always a problem with Break Effect in general, that after that initial big break damage, even though it was a pretty sizable amount of damage, it just wasn't consistent enough and it was slow. But now, Super Break tries to come in and solve all of that. So first off, what is Super Break? Super Break is a new mechanic that was introduced with the Harmony Trailblazers kit. It is technically also in Firefly's kit, so if you are planning to use Firefly, understanding the mechanics behind this will be very important to you. This also means that Super Break has a very good chance to show up in some other ways in other future characters' kits as well. So anyway, with the Harmony Trailblazer, when you attack an enemy that has been weakness broken, i.e. they are already in the weakness broken state, their toughness bar has been reduced to 0. Then if you attack them while you have the buff from their ultimate, then you will convert your toughness reduction of the attack that you used to 1 instance of Super Break damage. Now, okay, that's kind of a lot of words and a lot of jargon. So what exactly does that mean? Every single attack in the game does a certain amount of toughness reduction damage. Within the new patch, they actually added this information to the stat screen of every attack in the game. So we can see here the toughness reduction of the Harmony Trailblazers. Basic attack is 10. The skill is also 10, and this applies to all characters in the game. You can take a look at some of the characters here. You can see the basic attack for Gallagher, when it's enhanced, is 30. The ultimate is 20. With Himiko, we get 20. We get 10 with the basic attack. And then when we look at some hunt characters, the ultimate here is 30. Basic attack is 10. Skill is 20. Talent is 10. So anyway, all of that information is now available to you within the game, and you don't actually need to go out and find this information on external websites. So anyway, the higher this number is, i.e. the amount of toughness damage that you deal with that attack, the more damage you're going to be dealing with your Super Break damage. Now, one thing that this does fail to mention is that with blast attacks, your toughness reduction on your adjacent targets is typically half of what it is on the selected targets. So, right, if we take a look at Blade, the toughness reduction on his blast basic attack when it's enhanced is 20 to the target, but it should only be half of that to the adjacent targets. So that means that Super Break damage, if the adjacent targets are also weakness broken, is actually going to be lower than the selected target. So just be aware of that nuance when it comes to blast type attacks. And then show you guys a practical example here with Himiko's skill. You can see that when I deal my Super Break damage by selecting the target, I deal more damage. And then when I don't select the target and it's just adjacent, my Super Break damage is lower. Now, another nuance with Super Break is that you also get the instance of Super Break when you initially break the enemy's toughness. So it's only slightly misleading that it says that the enemy already needs to be weakness broken to deal your Super Break damage, because technically you can do it all in one turn. You don't actually have to wait till the next turn in order to deal your Super Break damage. If you break an enemy on that turn, then you can still deal that Super Break damage. Now, what increases the damage of Super Break? It's actually very, very simple, and is also actually explained in-game. It will increase with higher break effect, higher toughness reduction of attack, basically how much toughness you deal to their toughness bar, and also character levels. This is just kind of the base of how you increase Super Break damage. There are also other things that increase Super Break damage. And then, of course, we're going to go over things that don't increase Super Break damage in just a little bit. But anyway, besides those things, other things that increase our Super Break damage are things like defense reduction, vulnerability debuffs, resistance reduction or resistance penetration, and break damage buffs. And then as an extension to toughness reduction of your attack, weakness break efficiency will increase how much toughness damage you deal, so as a result, will increase how much damage your Super Break damage does. The Harmony Trailblazer has an Eidolon that gives a portion of their break effect to teammates. So this is a good way to increase break effect to make our super break damage even stronger. Ron Mei obviously is a very solid character for this, because she increases weakness break efficiency by 50%, increasing our toughness reduction abilities. And then with her ultimate, she also increases res penetration. Now her skill also gives a damage increase, and this will not increase our super break damage. So that right there is kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Ronmei also has an E1 that allows allies to ignore the target's defense by 20%, so this will also increase our super break damage. And there are tons of other characters that provide defense reduction abilities. Black Swan has one with her skill. Of course, Pela has defense reduction in her kit. Silver Wolf also has defense reduction in her kit. Defense reduction and defense ignoring go kind of hand in hand, so they both increase super break damage. There are also buffs to break damage itself. So Gallagher has the ability to just increase how much break damage enemies take. Super break is considered break damage, so this is why this debuff is going to help increase our super break damage. But basically, whenever Gallagher uses ultimate, he applies this debuff called Besotted, and it makes them receive 12% more break damage. So that means our super break damage is going to get buffed by this. Now, these are just examples, so definitely keep an eye out for these types of mechanics if you want to increase your super break damage. But as far as I can tell currently, these are definitely hands down the characters that you want to be using to give us the most mileage for increasing our super break damage. Now let's talk about what doesn't increase super break damage. As explained in game, it does not crit, and it is not affected by damage boost effects. So that means crit and damage boost, kind of like how I mentioned earlier with Ron Mei's skill, have no effect in increasing how much super break damage we deal. But as an extension to that, attack percentage also does not increase how much super break damage we deal. Again, in terms of stats, it's just your level, your break effect, and how much toughness reduction damage you deal. But anyway, this is actually the same as regular break. The biggest difference is that with regular break, the elemental type factored into the damage. Each element basically had a different multiplier that increased the damage when you initially break an enemy. Fire and physical having really strong initial break multipliers, and imaginary having a really weak one. But with Super Break, this mechanic is not present. Super Break also does not take into account the toughness bar health on the enemy, unlike regular break. Typically, boss enemies have higher toughness bars, and then they take more initial damage when they get weakness broken by regular break, because the calculation for regular break factors in how much toughness the enemy has. But again, with Super Break, that does not matter. What matters is how much toughness damage that you deal. Again, that's all shown within the screens in the game now currently. Anyway, that's all that I got for you guys in this video today. Super Break is actually very simple, and now I hope that you understand it better and that this video helped you out. And if it did, and if you made it this far, consider leaving a like and maybe even subscribing to the channel. Until next time, I will see you guys later.